Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. We're learning table-enabled Hilchos Shulchan Aruch, Hilchos Kriya Shema Siman Ayin Gimel, number 73. Start talking about erva and nakedness and saying Kriya Shema. This siman is titled Hayashan Im Ishto Banav Eichis Naik. People that are married, they usually sleep in the same bed as their wife. Um, and also, when you have kids, if you didn't know this, they come into your bedroom very early in the morning and wake you up. And sometimes they come in the middle of the night and they push their way in and they sleep with you during the night. So this is the reality. And a lot of times you're waking up with your wife in bed, your kids in bed. So let's learn Halacha Aleph. Shnayim shayu shenim b'talis echad. They were sleeping in one blanket for the husband and wife. It's a nice thing. Maybe a college teacher should teach you that. I don't know. Nice thing to share a same blanket. Psar shneim nogim zeh b'zeh. When they wake up, they're touching each other. It doesn't say a husband and wife here. It says any two people. It could be two men. It doesn't really say anything different. We're going to see that it's not just a man and a woman. They're also talking about woman and woman, men and men. First of all, women are not chayav in Kriya Shema. So it's really just talking about men and men or men and women. So and they're sleeping naked. This is the way people sleep. I mean, they're supposed to sleep naked. I don't know. A lot of people have pajamas nowadays. Haro in pajamas in the middle of the night. Jews from Yidden. The from Jews, what do? They sleep naked. That's why you're supposed to sleep naked. Even during the winter, just put on the heater and sleep. It's more comfortable to sleep like that. This is what the halachas are talking about. So I'm not being, someone who's, perverted over here. I mean, this is what the Torah talks about. The Gemara talks about. Why would it talk about cases that are not prevalent? It's talking about cases that happen all the time. You think I'm crazy? No, this is what the Gemara says. Open a Gemara, the Brachos Chavdal. There's so many people that have learned this Gemara Brachos Chavdal so many times, and they would never say such a thing that I would say, even though the Gemara exactly says what I'm saying, and the Shulchan Aruch exactly says what I'm saying. But we've become so detached now from reality, like the way we envision sneas nowadays, and even broaching the topic of man and woman. I'm not even talking man and man. I'm not talking progressive over here about liberal rights. I'm talking about man and woman, classical. Gemara talks about these things. The Torah talks about these things. We don't have to be such machmirim, such snuim. You're on a level higher than the Mesilas Yesharim. You're above the Mesilas Yesharim. I mean, I don't know. The Gemara talks about these things. Let's just be normal. Let's be normal and acknowledge what the Gemara talks about. So this is the classical case. You're sleeping naked next to either a man, if you're not married, a woman, your wife. Lo yikar Kriya Shema, because you can't read Kriya Shema if you're touching them, if your skin is touching their skin. Unless you take, there's a blanket separating between the two, so that your private parts, or the back of your private parts, I think it would include, I guess, your tuchus touching the other person's tuchus. If it's from waist down, you can't be touching. Now, the reason that most Rishonim learn and the Mishnah Berurah learns is because you're going to come to hear, meaning you're going to start thinking sexual thoughts. Now, again, we're talking about even a man and a man. So, yes, there are a percentage of people out there that are gay. It's not a political discussion over here. Most of the world is heterosexual. Some people are homosexual. Most people are heterosexual. For those people that are heterosexual, I don't think when they're together with another man, they have such strong feelings, desire, and lust for the other man. So it's hard to say that this halacha is because of hirur. Well, see, it's even talking about children over here, male children, boy children. We're not talking about pedophiles over here. We're talking regular people. Let's continue. I want to talk in Ian to lean on what the real reason is. Yashin im ishto. So let's say you're sleeping with your wife. The first halacha wasn't your wife; it was somebody else, either a man, naked with another man, or you're sleeping with another woman who's not married to you. See, this is what Shulchan Aruch talks about. Korei b'chazeras panim l'sad acher. Feel below afsakas halis. This is the Rambam writes. The Rambam has his own svara. He says it's a man and woman together, his wife. So man is accustomed to his wife. Doesn't have such strong feelings, sexual feelings for his wife. So therefore, it's not going to interfere with his kavana for Kriya Shema. Mishum the chashiva kagufa. We say ishtar kagufa. The Rambam applies it over here. It's like his body. V'yesh misha oser. However, the Rush, B'Shem, the Ria, Tosfos, the Nachal and Lachal Shadvar, of course, the Shulchan Aruch says, just like a man and a man, also a man and his wife, also, you might have a little bit of hirur, which would prevent you from having the proper kavana to think about the Perish Hamilim of Kriya Shema Gimel. Yashin and Bonov, let's say you're sleeping with your children, they come in the middle of the night, Ba'odam Ketanim, we'll see what Ketanim are in the next halacha. Presumably it means they're younger than Bar Mitzvah. Mutter Likros B'Chazaras Panim, below Hafsaka Salas. Even if your nakedness is touching their nakedness, your lower half is touching the lower half, you're allowed to because you're not going to have such strong feelings. Mehim Gedolim Sarach Hafsaka Salas. If they're older, we'll see in a second, then you need Hafsaka Salas. You need something, a blanket to separate. You can't touch skin to skin. Dalid. Ad Kamahim Chashuvim Ktanim. What is considered Ktanim? What's considered Gedolim for this halacha? Tinok Adshulo Yud Beis Shanim. Tinok is Adshulo Yud Aleph Shanim. So, a child that's under, a boy that's under the age of 12, or a girl that's under the age of 11, I feel heavy yishtei saros, but even if they have pubic hair, it doesn't make a difference. For this halacha, they're not considered gedolim. V'shnas yud gimel tinok, the 13th year, meaning 12 plus for a boy. V'yud beis latinokes, meaning 11 plus for the girl. I mean, yishtei saros also will have. If they have two pubic hairs, then you need to have some cloth between your lower halves, lower unclothed halves of your body. If they don't have two pubic hairs, then it's mutter. Once they're already 13 years old, or 12 years old for a girl, so technically midrabanan, they consider gedolim. So therefore, even if they don't have two pubic hairs, they're still considered to be gedolim for this halacha, and you can't say Kriya Shema while your lower half of your body is touching their half of the body. Now, Mishnah Berurah discusses halacha. He said this halacha is talking about where you're not facing each other. Your back is to your back. Your tuchus is to your tuchus. That's where you're touching. Certainly, he says, if you're facing each other and even if there is hafsakas talis, even if there is something separating between your genitals, still you can't do it because you're facing the erva. Actually, he says that if you do have hafsakas talis, as long as it covers the erva, let's say it's a woman, it covers whatever is considered an erva, normally covered in a woman. So it has to cover those parts of the body. We'll see in Siman Ayin Hey that if you can't say Kriya Shema Keneged erva, so the breasts of a woman is certainly considered erva. I don't know what part of her neck, her chest, until what part. It depends. We'll see. The halacha depends on how people dress normally. Anyway, whatever it is, you can't see the erva. But if you don't see the erva and you're facing each other, everything's covered. So then you could say it as long as you're not touching each other. This halacha is about touching each other physically. We're going to explain more. The reason the poskim give over here is because it's going to come to hear her. You're not going to concentrate on Kriya Shema properly, so therefore you can't say the mitzvah Kriya Shema. To me, it doesn't make any sense, right? First of all, it's man and man. A lot of these halachas talk about. Second of all, it could be your son who's 13 years old also has a problem. I mean, what hero is that? He's your son. I mean, again, we're not talking about pedophiles, we're talking regular people over here. So what is the source of this halacha? If you want to find out what I believe is the correct understanding of this halacha, stay tuned for Ian to lean on coming up next.